Oh. 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 Welcome to Meaningful Morning. This morning, I had heard about a congressperson in Maine who has realized that having an assault rifle ban is the right policy, is the right way to regulate society. But it took, I believe, 18 people to die, twice that number to be injured, for that realization to happen. Please relax the body, enjoy the breath, and chant with the mind to encourage those who regulate policy to understand there is absolutely no need for an ordinary person like me to have such a weapon, have any weapon. Ma vidvishavahai. May all those who are suffering understand that the Creator still loves them. May all those who facilitate society understand that weapons are not needed. Dialogue is, support is, and so on. On Monday, we completed Navaratri, and I had shared insights about growing out of darkness to cloudiness to lightness. Sounds good? Tama, Raja, Sattva. On Tuesday, we celebrated Vijayadashami, when Sri Rama defeats Ravana. I'd given the personal example of Ravana is one who doesn't listen or learn. Sri Rama is one who listens and learns. I'm going to share this in one more way. Diversity is weaker than unity. There is a significant emphasis on diversity, but it is weaker than unity. Try to visualize Ravana's 10 heads are like diversity. Sri Rama's 1 head is like unity. And how this plays out, if one focuses on just the Middle East around Israel, Judaism and Islam are both Abrahamic religions. Yet 10,000 people have died in the last 20 days. That's diversity, correct? Judaism, Islam. But what if the focus is on infinity? Not diversity, but infinity. Then that violence would not be manifest because there's only one infinity. On Wednesday, we completed thoughts on ahara. Ahara is that which you bring near, that which you input, specifically food. Some more reflections on this as we continue to summarize this week. One's food affects one's faith, which affects one's future. If I'm careless with my food, my faith will become less and little, And how I feel today and tomorrow will reflect that. Also, these verses about the differences in food are to encourage discipline. The 4 textures, the 6 tastes. In our culture, when one has a plate, one starts putting food down in the form of these 6 tastes, if you can imagine a clock, starting at 9 o'clock. So 9, 10, 11, 12, 1, 2, 3. 6 hours, correct? 6 tastes. And what is the bottom half of the plate supposed to be like? Empty. Where all of this mixing happens like a palette, like a paint palette. We pile our plate up like it's a backpack and we're going hiking. But there's a discipline to all of this. On Thursday, we began reflecting on yajna. And there's a beautiful transition here from food to dedication. If one's heart is full, then one's stomach is full. And that's where Shri Krishna is taking us from focusing on food to focusing on that which is more comprehensive, which is dedication. And I'd shared a short story about that if you go seeking God, we have a sharing in our Upanishad, Yajno ve Vishnuhu, which means dedication is divinity. Is divinity. If you go seeking God, you don't have to worry about food. God will facilitate not just your food, but all that you need. So yajna. In verse 11, in the first quarter, Shri Krishna is sharing, when one engages in dedication, that one should do so without a plan for a result. Personalizing this, if you love what you do, you're already experiencing the result. Yes? If I tell you don't act for a result, it's so impractical. But if you love what you do, you are getting your result. This is real. This quarter is the truth. I feel this. I love what I do. And I have found my bodily needs come down in terms of eating, sleeping, etc. In the second quarter, one's dedication should follow vidhi, which means scripture. And the reflection on this, in our trust triangle, we have our guide, our map, and divinity. They're connected. So if you follow the scripture, you will feel divinity. But if you don't follow the scripture, that's what's connected to divinity. So our dedication can't be random. This has to be intentional, has to be guided. In the third quarter, one's mindset is to be that this is the right way to live. And I'd referenced yesterday about when we engage in a puja, before you actually engage in the formal ritual, one is supposed to feel Shri Parameshwara Prityartha, making these words more related to meaningful mornings. Shri Krishna, Artha Priti. Why I'm doing this is to please Shri Krishna. It is not about me. As long as you feel this is about you, yajna will be diluted and eventually destroyed. There will not be yajna. This is the right way to think. Samadhaya sa satvikaha. This yajna, being fixed in this way, is sattvic. This helps one to have the faith, which then affects one's future. And I had stated that the more faith one has, the more one feels that they're an instrument of Sri Krishna. And when you feel that you're more of an instrument, you're less limited by your equipment. Like our body, our breath, and so on. Many of you are still being steady with the highest vocation. We've completed 2 weeks. And I've repeatedly shared about how the body, the breath, etc., are just equipment. Like with this young boy is playing with, who's part of Meaningful Mornings and wandering around. He has equipments, and they fall and they break and so on. But that's not who he is. See the timing, we planned this. Final thought before we continue into what is a Rajasic Yajna, dedication, but the feeling behind this is aggressiveness. The more content, in this case, guidance, teachings one has, the more full one's contemplation is, the more full one's days. A seeker is never to feel bored. Boredom comes when I don't know what to think about. But with so much content, practical content, if one's manaha, if one's mind is samadhaya, fixed on this content, you will never feel bored. I think I had mentioned that to you or in a previous class. I can't remember the last time I was bored. And trying to share this in a personal way because I can really relate to verse 11. I can't remember the last time I felt stress. I know I look like it, but what's happening outside and what's happening inside are different. Verse 11. Abhisandhaya shuphalam dambartam api chevayat ijjate bharata shrestha tam yajnam vidhi rajasam. Joy. Tam yajna. I'm in the 4th quarter. That yajna, and I'm putting this in brackets now because you'll see why. Vidhi, you should know this. Rajasam is of the nature of Raja. Earlier I described this as aggressiveness or cloudiness. One doesn't know why they're doing what they're doing. Abhisandhaya phala. As one is engaged in what they're doing, sandhaya, they're fixed on the phala, on the result. Very different than the previous yajna. Damba artham. And so the meaning of what they're doing is really filled with dambha, which is hypocrisy. They're engaged in dedication, but they're not feeling that. Ijjate bharata shrestha. Here he's calling Prince Arjuna Shrestha. You are the best of the bharatas, those who are filled with light. So he's sharing this, that Prince Arjuna, you're questioning your faith. Don't question it. You definitely are one who's dedicated in a sattvic way, not in a rajasic way. So then why is this here? Because Sri Krishna knows that on October 27, 2023, 500 others may come across this teaching and they may be engaged in their day in a selfish way. Final thought, and then I'll share more, specifically some writings of Puja Swami Chinmayananda. Yesterday, I had given some insights into self-care. Tomorrow, I'll be speaking about self-care in regards to self-development in our workshop tomorrow morning. For those who are engaged in self-care, what is this doing for you? Is it helping you feel who you are, your divinity? And so I mentioned some engage in self-care through asana. What this plays out like, for those who don't relate to the Sanskrit, it's like going to the spa. Short term. More long term is in being engaged in a kriya. How that plays out like in our day is like going to a restaurant. The breath input. So it's like going to a restaurant. And then after that, it would be like a mantra. It would be like a mantra. And that would be like going to a party, correct? It's very keeping you at the mind level. And we're engaged in jnana. This jnana is like being in satsanga. It affects you at a deeper level, so there's more long-termness in terms of self-care. So I just want you to really think about self-care and how it is directly affecting your self-development. From inspiration to application. Your application yesterday was to discuss the paragraph I read to you from Swami Chinmayananda's writing. When you discuss this outwardly, it helps bring clarity inward. That's why discussions are important. Study groups are important. Your application for this morning is more classifications of 3 are coming. Faith, food, dedication, more is coming. So make sure you're charting this out. Make sure you're ready for this. Shanti, 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 be joy.